Hello everyone, so in this video I would like to explain how we use a voltmeter in waveforms. You cannot see, but I already have a circuit connected on the breadboard with everything set up. So before we begin, we do need to start with having a voltage source or supplying a voltage to our circuit. So I'll just go ahead and start with setting up that. So in this example, I'm going to use a 3.3 volt source. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. Only for the positive supply, not really the negative supply. So now that I have my voltage set up on my circuit, I can go ahead and go to the voltmeter tools now. Now that we've opened the voltmeter tools and waveforms, let's go ahead and look at some of the functions. So as you can see here, there's a run button. The run button continuously gathers data, and the values will be constantly changing. With the single run button, it would only gather data once, and so the values in these two columns, channel 1 and channel 2, would would only be a single number, a single value at the time it gathered those values. So those are the two differences between the two runs, and we have two columns here, channel 1 and channel 2. Channel 1 corresponds to the BNC adapter, channel 1 terminal. So that's the same terminal where we would connect our oscilloscope probe. So we'd be using the voltmeter with the same probe that we use to measure signals for the oscilloscope. So they're both the same cable on the same channel, but serve two different purposes. One can be used for a voltmeter and one can be used for an oscilloscope. So we do have three other rows here. So we have a DC, true RMS, and AC RMS. In this example, we would only need to observe the DC row and on channel 1. So now that I've explained to you how the functions and the layout of the voltmeter tools in waveforms, let's go ahead and look at the circuit now. Now I'd like to demonstrate how we're going to be measuring voltage on the analog discovery tube. In order to measure voltage, we need to use the oscilloscope probe. So the first thing we can do is just connect our oscilloscope probe to channel 1 or channel 2 terminals on the BNC adapter. So just go ahead and do that. So now that we got the oscilloscope probe connected, we can move on to where we want to measure on the circuit. Now you can see that I've already got a circuit going, and you'll notice a few connections that I made. I did make this connection so that I can continue the ground column onto the lower half of the breadboard. And I didn't do the same for the power supply because my circuit begins on this side of the breadboard, but my circuit ends on this side of the breadboard. So this green wire connects to ground, and this jumper wire will continue that connection. So in order to make a measurement with the oscilloscope probe, the first thing I got to do is connect my ground cable on my oscilloscope probe to the same point I established a ground on the circuit. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect the alligator clip to a jumper wire. And from that jumper wire that I connected the alligator clip, I'm going to connect it onto a location I already established a ground on the circuit. So you can see I connected down right here on the ground. Now at this point in the circuit, we can just go ahead and click run. But note that these values are incorrect because our probe is not connected to the circuit. Now let's connect our probe to the circuit. Now I should expect to get 3.3 volts at this location using my oscilloscope probe. So I'll just go ahead and connect it there. And sure enough, I get 3.3 volts. Now if I do connect another location, I will get a different reading. And at this point, I got 2.446 volts. And so if I do want to do multiple readings at the same time, I do need to connect my second oscilloscope probe to the second terminal, or channel 2 terminal on the BNC adapter. And I do have to connect it to another, either another ground or the same ground if you can manage connecting that second alligator clip to this lead right here. So that's generally how you measure voltages using the oscilloscope probe.